I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, a continuation on a blog I did a couple of weeks ago talking about the debate that I had in my comment section about, I'm telling this guy that it's just as easy now to buy a home and move up the property ladder and save for retirement that it was 20, 25, 30, 35 years ago when I first started. Yes, in some ways it's much more difficult. You're going to need a whole lot more money today to buy a typical one bedroom than you were 30, 40, 35 years ago when I started. However, the incomes that you can produce, especially leveraging technology, I never would have dreamed about. And the opportunities to invest your money in other ways and creating passive income flows. Because that's the secret. I've done many blogs here about working for a paycheck or working a 9 to 5 or even putting in 10-hour days at a career. You're limited there. Most successful people, most wealthy individuals have multiple income flows. I have 7 or 8 myself. I've always had multiple income flows since I was a teenager. So go back and watch my other blogs on that. But the opportunities to do that with side hustles, creating passive income flows, leveraging technology to free up time to do other things is far and away superior than what it was even just 10 years ago, let alone 30 years ago. So let me walk you through let's talk about, the path to success here again and just kind of reaffirm what I had talked about a few weeks ago. And I'm going to plug a couple of books here. So let's call this, taking ownership. Taking ownership of your life here and the direction you want to go in. A caveat I got to always put out, again, if you've read my book, money is not everything. Money is very low on the totem pole for me. Earning money and investing and buying real estate, that is a byproduct of putting in the time and effort into a career that you enjoy and have a passion for. That's where it all starts. If you can get into a career or a side hustle or start your own business with something you have a passion and a real interest for, what is it? You'll never work a day in your life. And the income that you'll earn from that is a nice byproduct of that, which then you can do lots of things with, retire early and live a pretty nice lifestyle. But never focus solely on making the money or buying material things or everything else. If you read my book, you'll know that I'm a minimalist. I have a nice lifestyle, but accumulating material things is not really very high on my list. I use the money because it buys you time. That's the real thing that earning money can do for you is, you can get up and do whatever you want with your time. That's what money and having money affords you. But the first step should be, like I've talked about before, if you want to live in Vancouver, you want to buy real estate in Vancouver, eventually maybe even buy a detached home in Kitsilano or Yaletown or not a condo in Yaletown or a detached home in Kerrisdale or Mount Pleasant. If that's you, then you're going to have to rise well above what the average earner is here in Vancouver, just like about 40 or 50 other cities. So that's the first thing. And this is a book that, I don't know if I've ever plugged this one, The Laws of Human Nature. This is a book that I've had probably in my office here for 10 or 12 years. This is a heavy book. There is a lot of it. This is like an encyclopedia. This might be a good book for a lot of you to get started on that. Finding your passion. Finding a career, find something you have an interest in, and then looking for ways to monetize that. And especially, trying to use technology to help leverage your income. or starting side jobs and things like that, because you're going to need to earn 150, 200, 250. I know it's crazy and it's not fair, but if you want to live comfortably in a city like Vancouver or LA or Toronto or Miami or San Francisco or London or many of these cities, if you want to be an owner and live a nice lifestyle and be able to comfortably live in these cities, hey, that's what you're going to have to do. All is not lost, though. There is so much opportunity out there. That book might be a good start for you. From there, home ownership. Again, I've talked about it many times. Being a long-term lifetime renter in a city like Vancouver or any other expensive city is going to crush you financially. I did that blog on the rental trap that's currently going on now. Prices are way up. Rents are going back up. landlords are selling properties that they haven't raised the rent on in years, and people are getting hit with substantial rent increases. You don't want to be like that. Homeownership, not only is it the best asset you can have long term because you get all the capital gains tax free, but it does double duty. It's a roof over your head. It's the Tina effect. There is no alternative. If you're not owning and paying down the mortgage at 1.6%, you're renting and paying someone like me $2,200 or $2,300 a month for a basic one bedroom. Do the math on it, plus look at the intangibles of home ownership, the pride of ownership and the stability of owning your own home and not waiting for that phone call to tell you you're going to be out in 2 months. From there, max out your RRSP and TFSAs. So I haven't plugged my book for a while. Here's another good book, The Laws of Human Nature. Go to Amazon, pick up my book along for the ride. I don't know what it is, $13. You can buy it on Kindle for $9.99. I think you can, I've got lots of used ones now on Amazon you can pick up for less. This will be the next step for you as a door opener, and I recommend a lot of other good books in my book on how to get started, the process. So buying your principal residence, maxing out your RRSP and TFSA, take advantage of those tax breaks you get there. Put your money, for most people, just into a low-cost ETFs, index invest. If you have an inkling and want to learn more about dividend stocks and growth stocks and tech, companies like Apple and Google and Facebook, sure, do the research and start adding those to your portfolio as well. Work on yourself. Again, I've stressed this many times before as well. Stop focusing on the things that you do not have control over. So these guys, the economists you see on the news that are talking about we're headed for a recession, or the Fed is printing money and we're devaluing the dollars and inflation, foreign buyers, all these things are going to make very little difference to you over the next 20 or 30 years. The only thing that's going to make a difference is you. You're looking at him or her every morning in the mirror. Focus on what you have your hand on, what you can control. And that's looking for ways to move up the corporate ladder if you're in the corporate ladder. Starting your own business. Look for ways of leveraging and using technology to create passive income flows, multiple revenue streams. Investing your money. Study how stock markets work, how dividends work, dividend growth investing. Spend the 100 or 200 hours. Tune out all the negative stuff that you see on the news that is going to make zero difference to your life. People are really getting fooled. The biggest enemy to a lot of people now, I think, is just surrounding themselves with a lot of negativity, watching the news, watching these kind of negative cherry pickers that will only give you the negative stuff on Vancouver real estate or investing. This stuff has been around for 35 years. Believe me, I've seen it. Luckily, I've just put my blinders on, focus on me, getting ahead, and the things that I have control over, and everything will come together for you. Final kind of things, two types of people, some that are more aligned to achievement and accomplishment. Other people are more aligned to entertainment. If you want to live in an expensive city like Vancouver or New York or California, you're going to have to try and get disciplined and try and lean a little bit towards accomplishment or achievement, working on yourself, getting better. It doesn't mean you can't have any entertainment or fun. You want to have some of that in your life. You need that. You need to take breaks. But you need to align yourself in these competitive cities more towards achievement and accomplishment as your primary setting. Final thing is optimizing your life. Again, I've done blogs on these. That's kind of the final step that ties it all together. That means, having proper diet, exercise, sleep. If you don't feel good, you're not going to perform at its best. And to make it in a city like Vancouver, a competitive city like this, and the kind of work you're going to have to get into, it's going to be high stress and it's going to be a lot of demand. 10-hour days. It will be incredibly rewarding for you, you'll see, as you start to see the results. But what'll make it a little easier is if you've got your life optimized in other ways. You're eating a proper diet. I still eat some pizzas and some candy bars all the time. But I keep a pretty strict diet. good nutrition, I work out regularly, I get enough sleep. These are the things that kind of tie in the rest of it. And that's why when you read these autobiographies on successful people, CEOs and that kind of thing, most of them have their life optimized in other ways to keep their performance high. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.